So if you're actually going to talk about China, we have to talk about China's Insider with David Zhang. China's Insider with David Zhang is actually is a YouTuber that actually looks into China and not that exposes the corruption within the CCP. And basically he lives in the US, I believe. He lives somewhere far away from China, because you can't just be the type of guy to live in China where it's actually censored in order to what you can actually say or not say, but yet just speak your mind and just expose corruption. Like, it doesn't really make sense. But there's actually some major corruption that they actually did, and not enough to make full videos based on it. For example, there's also when like a protest was going on, and basically the Chinese people are against Taiwanese people and Korean people, because when they believe that they're actually going to take over their country. And not only that, but their social media is even worse, where comments actually believe, I kid you not, believe that where a Chinese person is asking, where's the perfect place to store 300,000 people when we're gonna invade your country? Then the person comes back, go like, where's your water reservoirs? And they actually fucking believed it. like I think they're so dumb to the point that, like, I don't know what corruption they're doing, but they're really high on corruption, because the corruption that is literally high, and not only that, but the highest quantity of literal low quality products, making so that there's actually a fatal car crash that happened within China that bursted into flames. No airbags were deployed, and the car was practically burnt to death from the inside out, because the EV actually exploded with thanks to the ion batteries, and the car didn't actually unlock. If I locked them inside, and this made it so right that China's economy was actually declining. It's not even because of the decline of this, it's decline because of the corruption, and they're not really noticing it or trying to actually indirectly notice it. Because if they notice it, they know for a fact the CCP has a major flaw, and if they notice that the CCP has a major flaw, they know for a fact that their power is gonna actually be removed, and therefore, as this continues to carry on, China's actually decreasing. But it was used to be the highest population. It used to have the highest economy. But what happened? Well, it's simply because of their cheap goods and our double aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic. Aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic really so that buying and trading goods within China and across China has been, let's just say, not really as good as that we try to transition into a normal life. Not only that, but when when the TikTok ban actually went in, ByteDance actually said in a private interview that the environment actually shut down in the US, then actually trade in instead of, like, saying, to a USA company. And what does this actually mean? This means one thing, that is simply you actually have that ByteDance could just rather sell data towards China and use it in the propaganda or use it in the projects than just simply change it towards another company, because they know for a fact they won't do that anymore. The whole main purpose was just to spread information about China, and at the same time try to actually make China look much more better than it actually is. There's also a lot of things to do with it. For example, Harvard China protest. It's basically a protest that held in Harvard, where, I kid you not, Harvard, probably one of the most prestigious places on earth, actually got a person from China CCP. I don't know what role he is, but I think he's definitely part of the CCP. And they made him speak. And I kid you not, all the people that had a problem with him were actually set out. Basically, how can Harvard, I think Harvard's actually this is not only killing Harvard's reputation, but it's also making so that China could just get into anything. Why China though? You could choose anyone else, Harvard, but yet you decided to choose the one guy that is associated with the CCP. What's wrong with you racist fucks? And not only that, but thanks to the actual economy actually decreasing, this made it so that the gas is actually being stolen. Or is it? Simply, the gas meter is actually increasing by a lot or a little bit while you're not using it. Not really makes sense, doesn't it? It's just simply because it needs money for the fact that the GDP from the overproduction of items. Making some like the overproduction items that is that they have a lot of items that are made, but they don't have enough countries or enough places in order to trade goods with. So in return, right, it has to sell them extremely cheap at a really high loss. Making so that it's only dying because of it. Not only that, but this streamer was actually banned initially for actually talking about a homeless woman in China who made around $50 a month, who actually, and that video was actually used by a news article in America just to prove that China is actually dying in its economy and that the abundance of homeless people is actually increasing. And not only that, but he also got banned again because why? When anything bad about China releases within China, they will actually do whatever it takes in order to simply just eradicate it. Because if they have anything bad to say, you cannot actually say it. Because otherwise, the person that you say it to or the internet you say it to, it can actually be picked up by the authorities of China or any other people in the CCP, and they may actually try to shut you up by actually initiating threats. You can actually leave the country if you want by actually trying to get yourself dual citizenship, and that's what's actually happening. Some people within China think that their voice and their rights actually be ruined, so instead of actually living within China, they decide to actually leave China and actually go to a different place outside in a Western country, for example the UK or the USA. But they go to live in France or these other European countries. This is at least this is done because of one thing, that is that freedom of speech is actually being ruined, because if they allow freedom of speech, they'll literally know for a fact that GDP will actually decrease because the amount of people are saying there's so much corruption. Plus on top of that, there's literally lots and lots of corruption. And well, China wants World War Three. China wants World War Three so that it can actually prove that it actually has strong enough power. But it's actually quite embarrassing when you realise those missile tanks are filled with water. The amount of corruption that is within China and on that, but within the military and everything else, makes it so that it's actually extremely weak, and therefore, right, it consists of poor and impoverished people, plus the dying economy, and plus with massive amount of corruption, so that people can actually live. This is literally the highest top tier corruption, and therefore it's kind of like a dictatorship, just like North Korea. Like, but except for fact, China is actually a country that you could just simply go to, but within North Korea you can't actually go to unless if you have been selected. But yet it'll be a huge risk, since if you have said anything or be caught with some inappropriate material from North Korea or Chinese authorities, you will actually just get punished extremely badly. And basically, and Chinese old tricks in new EV showdown. So, BYD and Xiaomi is basically two electric companies that actually make electric cars within China and try to sell them out. They're made extremely cheaply, and therefore their safety is absolutely terrible. Especially with Xiaomi, where the paint is actually getting removed, the doors are actually getting stuck, and not only that, but you can't just get out because all the parts are made extremely cheaply with extremely cheap labor. They discover that when you actually use this, it's just not even gonna work. Like the cars that you actually like a really high top tier phone company like Xiaomi just making an absolute terrible car. We expected Xiaomi to make a nice, good, cheap car that's actually quite good in quality. Nope. But instead, what you could just get yourself the worst car that can actually kill you. This actually goes back to the previous story that I actually mentioned, where someone dodged their EV because it's made so cheaply. It's because the safety is so low, in fact, that you must have no safety. Because they must do it in order to cut costs, because they know for a fact that they won't sell it to anyone or anyone's going to buy it. So basically, they make overproduction, hoping that someone actually buy it and actually sell it at a loss, so they can actually sell mass amount of qualities. So Porsche copycat. Basically, it's actually talking about the Xiaomi car compared to the Porsche Taycan. Basically, they're two similar cars where that they look exactly the fucking same, except for about the rims and all these things. If you actually search up the Porsche Taycan. So as you can see, this is the Porsche Taycan from the actual side, and this was actually from the front. As I get the front pic since, well, there's actually a similar front pic. As you see, sleek car design, but if you actually go to Xiaomi, they look the fucking same. I kid you not, they look the same apart from the head scoop, and yeah, that's what I actually noticed. And not only that, but also the headlights. The headlights are striped with, was it triple headlights? But the actual car over here has basically 4 headlights, so basically about 8, so basically dual. And not only that, but the tires also look similar. And plus the side of the car also looks similar in ways that they actually copied the Porsche Taycan so that they can actually sell it. But why did they actually do this? Simply, if you actually copy a top tier company like Porsche, you may actually get a lot of sales because people who are actually going to be scammers. And speaking about scammers, there's actual people who are scamming on the internet, especially in China when we talk about live stream, but we talk about right after, and we actually talk about the Porsche Taycan and the actual Xiaomi SU7. Basically, they actually copy a top tier car like the Porsche Taycan. The Porsche Taycan is actually a nice electric car that goes extremely fast, and therefore decided to copy it because people who could just use it in order to scam. For example, they could purchase the car, sell it at a higher price, but just change the actual logo from Xiaomi to Porsche, then boom, you have yourself the perfect way in order to set up a scam. So yeah, both of these cars are actually perfectly usable. Basically, this car, the Porsche Taycan, put first, and just that it can actually be used in a scam by Chinese authorities or, in fact, other people within China. It's because the diet economy makes it so that they will actually do anything what it takes in order to get at least a lot more money in. And due to that, right, I kid you not, the YouTube actually invited Western investors, talked to them, and they wrote down fake notes, and it fucking failed. Who the fuck do we what did he yeah, and I kid you not, it actually failed. Who expected? It felt so hard to the point that you might as well just say, what's the bloody point of inviting them? It's because they wanted to attempt in order to actually sell properties cheaply, but yet went to actually sell like properties and items, and they basically have much more investment within the country so that they can actually keep up with funding in order to fund their corruption plan. And it's not even a bigger proof. Like, the biggest proof is probably the buildings that they actually built. Like, kid you know, they have contractors that can't even pay out, and due to that, people actually got broke because of it. And it is because they put so much money into buildings, but yet they actually been stuffed. But the contractors are actually just being corrupted, since that they're actually just stuffing mass amount of money and they're just building the buildings cheaply, but yet no one's actually going into these buildings and living in it, so everyone turned and just collapse it. They're basically wasting a shit ton of money on projects just so that they can actually be knocked down later because no one's actually using it. Like, who the hell do we expect China to actually do, especially in this situation where they actually just build properties just so they can actually knock them down immediately? Like, how ridiculous do they actually think we are as a human, or like as people, to actually just go to these properties that are so fragile to the point that you could just simply punch a wall and yet it will actually just crumble to pieces. Even plaster wood is stronger, yet that shit's made from paper. Like, what are they actually doing? Like, unless if they're packaging their buildings and taking it across multiple places in China, there's actually no point. They're just putting fucking styrofoam in. Like what is styrofoam going to try and do? Because styrofoam has not even that much good of a structure, let alone, like, you could just simply punch it and it crumbles to pieces. So what's the fucking point? Like, China, like, I will go for you how high I actually are. It's maybe about how high. Most people who are actually living in China currently actually move from their rural areas to go into much more high-tech city areas. But however, they actually get trash jobs either way because they actually go into manufacturing. Why? It's just because they don't have any education, and due to that one, they need to. Therefore, they only get taught to do one thing, as manufacture goods of specific items, just so they can actually sell out. But they get paid extremely badly because no one else will actually hire them. Like, this is probably the only job they have. And even worse, the one part is actually the Foxtrot factory. And I kid you not, there were actually a massive lockdown where people were actually escaping, and there were mass suicides at actually the Foxtrot building. Makes it so that it's absolutely terrible place to actually work in, because you're going to spend all your lifetime in it. Like, the children are going to spend your lifetime in it, and I don't even think the population is actually going to increase. In fact, what I believe is that China's population is actually decreasing by a whole lot, even though we expect it to actually increase by a huge number. But what did we actually expect that China actually will actually increase their population by a huge lot? Simply they're growing in the growing economy. The growing economy makes it so that they can actually have more children and more populations and more people actually have stable income. But however, this was beforehand when people didn't actually look into the CCP or what they actually did. But now, thanks towards the aftermath of COVID-19, this makes it so that it showed China their true colours and showed them that they're actually just an impoverished poor country that tries to make a shit ton of cheap goods, try to sell them off and show them off as other items that are trying to be their real counterparts, but just ended up failing. But did you know that China actually got banned over a TV show? Yes, Three Body Problems from Netflix actually caused a massive shitstorm within China because simply it didn't use real Chinese people. How racist can you be? And speaking about racism, there's actually an Uber driver, and wait, let's just that because I almost forgot that I was actually going to talk about the fake streamers. So the fake streamers are actually streamers that basically use filters. These filters are so good to the point that all you need is just a simple wig, and yet you can just pose off as an actual female. This makes it so that Chinese streamers could just simply be posing as males, and therefore no, male streamers can be posing off as female streamers, and makes it so that they can actually be used in order to get a lot more money into their bank accounts. Simply that they're not only getting the money stolen from China, but also the water company, the electricity company, and every single other company. This makes it so that Chinese people do whatever it takes in order to simply steal as much money as they can, and not only that, but this makes it so that these streamers will also try to take as much money as they can from these people. So that is a massive scam. But before you have to think this cute Chinese girl looks cute, you may actually have to double think that, because now you may go like, this dude use a filter in order to make himself look cute and womanized. They also take a transgender procedure, but that's actually not allowed within China. Alright, let's talk about the other thing. The TV show made by Netflix. Three Body Problems is a TV show made to actually show China in a much more negative and truthful light, where the first scene starts off with basically people protesting, saying that the CCP is the best and Xi Jinping is the best. Basically chatting out while people who are Korean or other people, or people who didn't believe in the CCP, just simply didn't actually believe inside the protest. What does it? What does it actually mean? What it actually cause a huge stir? Simply because of one thing. It's because when they use Chinese people, they in fact use Korean people and other people. That's what they get the bad with. And simply, it's actually caused by dumbasses talking to other dumbasses. So yeah, really, it's kind of similar to Twitter. So yeah, but if they're actually Chinese, I know that, But speaking about some lovely murders, what about a murder that actually happened? Yeah, I kid you not. There's actually there's basically there's three kids, right? They actually planned this murder for months via text messages, where they actually said to the kid, "Oh yeah, you can be buried alive," and they were actually pretty much correct. When the person actually buried alive, when they actually found dirt in his lungs. And what happened? basically they bashed his head in with a shovel and then digged up a hole that was pre-planned beforehand, and then they actually put him inside the hole and then put dirt on top of him, and he simply drowned by dirt because the kids actually put them in. And right after the acted so calm, like I said, they're about to pass the whole murder. But his parents realized that he was missing, reported to Chinese authorities, and they found out these three kids were actually involved in his murder. And of course, in China's fashion, they'll actually with anything to do with China in a negative light, including murder or anything else. So social media was basically just censoring everyone who was talking about it, because so that less people knew about the whole thing. And therefore, right, it makes me go like, how the fuck is people still defending China? It's just either because A, they don't have social media, or B, they haven't seen all the negative posts, since that when they use social media, by the time the posts will actually get down, that's when they actually use it. It's kind of coincidental, since that when they use Chinese social media, they'll see all the positive things, but instead of any of the negative things. And even worse, some of the people in China actually believe, I kid you not, that some people with their murders should just get away with it in China. Oh yeah, you murdered someone, get away with it. Oh, your whole family blew up in the car? Shut the fuck up. Get on your knees, suck Xi Jinping's dick. Then after that, pray to the CCP that you don't actually get the death penalty. Like, that's why I actually believe he was in China now, where people now are not only now they're based on, well, how they actually respond. Like, if they respond negative towards CCP, you can simply report them and they'll be taken away. Like, no matter what you just say, you can just simply report anyone away. Like, if you don't like anyone, you can just go to the Chinese authorities and go like, who's talking shit about the CCP, and they can actually just take them away. And, well, there's also, I don't know, but due to Xi Jinping's, due to the trash economy, the China's so that Xi Jinping was actually a hard mark attempt, and that's so that he was actually about to get assassinated, or did he? Not did he, because he actually got taken down when he actually had the chance, basically making it an attempt. Show that how people would actually just rather just kill the actual leader and then try and vote them out. But yeah, there's actually a lot of garbage within China. Due to that, this said that there's multiple things that's actually happening. For example, like if you actually have the body parts in Beijing, I don't know what that's talking about, because I actually watch YouTube Shorts and it actually highlights the much more important and much more prominent parts, and basically there's a lot of things to do with it. Like, for example, there's actually spies within London and actual spies within China, actually within the UK and USA. Why? This is something that can actually overlook everything that's happening within USA by simply sending over their spies. If they actually find out there's actually a spy within the country, they will actually be sentenced to the maximum sentence and be sentenced to practically life within a jail in the UK. But in USA, it depends on the state. They could be executed, or they could simply be sentenced to life. But yeah, that could actually not last for long, since they know for a fact they will actually get beaten up, not because they're Chinese, just because of the actual spy. You may go like, is your school meals are absolute dog shit? Well, if you have any school meals, any meals within schools in China, they're actually even worse, because I kid you not, everything that is made in the food production are actually terrible, since they use a shit ton of chemicals. That's because so that they're actually basically using a dangerous amount of these chemicals, and because so that this dangerous amount of chemicals could just be used in order to poison someone or in fact kill someone. Why? Because they want to make stuff as cheap as possible because of their dire economy, and due to that, right, they'll do anything what it takes in order to simply milk. For example, if you want to actually get yourself some fresh lettuce, you have to first of all rub that shit in sewer water and then eat it, because that's simply how food is prepared within China. They use a lot of chemicals that are basically practically unknown, that but also unmarked. So basically you don't know these chemicals are in there, but these chemicals are sometimes actually linked to diseases or basically forever chemicals. So practically they're using forever chemicals in order to simply make items cheaply.